Welcome to the video, guys. It seems the Brexit negotiator for the UK, David Frost, is continuing to salt mine the EU and the leaders, with reports here in the Express stating Brussels is rather pissed off by David Frost's tactics. British negotiating tactics have pissed off their EU counterparts as trade talks once again descend into chaos. A hard-hitting exchange of letters between David Frost and Michel Barnier is understood to have reset the relationship between the two sides. That is something I covered a couple of days ago now. The Prime Minister's chief Brexit negotiator accused the bloc of offering Britain a substandard trade deal. Mr Barnier hit back, warning his British counterpart to watch his tone and refused to negotiate via letter. Brussels sources have said the two sides had to clear the air when talks resumed via video conference earlier this week. As a result of the breakdown in trust, the bloc sees very little room for progress, despite Mr Barnier describing the negotiations as a crucial moment in the hunt for a UK-EU trade deal. An EU source said the negotiating teams have decided they needed to pick things up after the exchange of letters. This round is just a bridging operation between now and the high-level conference, which to me sounds like the EU are slightly pissed off that David Frost is not cowing to them like previous negotiators have. He is sticking to his guns and not letting them dictate what is going on. The letter has hurt the trust. Member states were particularly pissed off. Oh well, we're not here to make them happy, and neither is David Frost. He's there to get us the best deal he can, or tell the EU, don't worry about your stupid deal, we're off, WTO all the way. The article continues though, this week has seen many more angry exchanges, with Downing Street officials accusing the EU of wishful thinking after suggestions the government was about to agree a compromise of fishing rights, which is likely yet more Ramona bullshit that we keep seeing as the extension deadline approaches at the end of the month. I've said it in a couple of videos now, we might see a hell of a lot of action in relation to Brexit over the next couple of weeks. Boris Johnson, European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen and European Council President Charles Michel will hold talks later this summer to take stock of the process. And hopefully Boris goes over there and sticks to his guns. Don't hold your breath on it, remember, Boris is a politician, as we all know. The Prime Minister has decided he will walk away from negotiations in the autumn to prepare for a relationship with the bloc on world trade terms, which is something that should be happening at the end of the month, if you ask me. It's better to give it 6 months of preparation than something like 3, but I'm not in charge of the government, maybe they know 3 months will be more than enough. And this is the only thing that concerns me. Boris could be talking a good game right now and then sell us out down the river, or he could take us out on a WTO Brexit or even get a deal. All are still certainly possible. Downing Street officials are understood to be undeterred by the combative nature of the talks, which has angered some of their Brussels counterparts, and I'm sure you would agree that is good news. It's better to have them pissed off than thinking they've got our negotiators in their pockets. Number 10 believes it is healthy for vocal disagreements because the two sides are negotiating as sovereign equals. Well, I don't think you can really call the EU sovereign since it consists of a bunch of sovereign nations. It itself is actually fuck all when it really comes down to it. It is just milking the citizens of multiple EU nations to fund the fat cats in Brussels, while allowing half of the world's population to enter the EU. Negotiations are likely now to build up to a political bust-up between the UK and the EU in the autumn, according to a senior German diplomat. The country's ambassador to the EU said the bloc would want to see a deal by the October European Council summit, but he warned of the Brexit process absorbing a lot of political attention beforehand. Michael Claus said, "We hope that we have a deal by the European Council in October and confirm it. That means we can envisage to be there around the second half of October. We cannot be much later because it would need to be ratified, at least by the European Parliament. Well, you better hope that the EU changes its stance and comes to an agreement with the UK, or Boris becomes a weak little simp and gives in to the EU, which hopefully he won't. The diplomat added, the Brexit issue is going to absorb a lot of political, or most of the political attention we expect in September and October. Yeah, because what's going on now will be forgotten about, especially if you consider the 15,000 people that gathered in Hyde Park yesterday. But it is certainly a good sign in my opinion that the EU and their negotiators along with member states are slightly pissed off with our negotiating tactics. That means the negotiators we have are not the lily-livered snakes that were there before. You might remember the snivelling shitweasels that tried to sell us out under the Maybach government. It seems, at the moment, on this issue, that the Conservative government is actually standing strong. It's a shame they are not doing that in relation to all issues. And as for the EU moaning about the hurt trust coming from David Frost's letters, I say, are you having a laugh? What about the hurt trust on our side for the last 4 years that you have worked against what the people of this country voted for? Take a look at Barnier's letter just the other week saying they will give a 2-year extension to the Ramonas who have zero power in this country. I have more right to declare that this country should leave on a WTO Brexit than any Ramona has that the Brexit transition period should be extended. I don't know how many times you have to lose before you are eventually shut up, but in the Ramona's case, it will likely be never. And I do find it rather funny that the EU is pissed off with Frost's tactics, which is extra sweet because it will piss off the Ramonas also, as we have seen over the last few weeks that the Brexit situation has started to escalate. There are already multiple suggestions that the UK should prepare for a no deal, so possibly that is why David Frost has taken the stance that he has, because that is their plan. Or maybe their plan is to play hardball and get a deal at the end of it. Either way, pissing off the EU and all of the Ramonas in this country is always a good thing, so well done David Frost. Keep those tactics up. Now before I go, I've started doing live streams and uploading gaming content on my second channel. If you would like to come and join me for a live stream to chat in real time, have an interest in gaming related content on YouTube, or just want to follow me over there because you are a legend, the link will be down in the video description below and as a pinned comment. I hope to see you all there. Now as always, before I go, I want to thank our PayPal, Patreon, Subscribestar and YouTube members for supporting the channel, along with everyone who watches my videos. Remember to let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. Leave a like, subscribe with the notification bell and share this video as it helps the channel a lot. And I will see you all in the next one.
There is a pattern consistent throughout history of oppressed people turning on the oppressors. Slaves against their owners, the peasantry against the feudal barons, colonies, Mr. Verhofstadt, against their empires. And that is why Britain is leaving. And it doesn't matter which language you use, we are going and we are glad to be going. We're off.